Okay, media planners, this is the role of media in marketing consumer products. I'm going to throw in a word for today. It's a special bonus, and we're going to start right there. Okay, the word is impressions, and you guys have already seen this word before, but let's take a look at how it gets used or misused. Okay, you probably remember this from last year, that nice little event in Game of Thrones when the coffee cup, it actually wasn't from Starbucks, showed up in the scene. Some sloppy set work. Okay. Um, Impressions. If we're going to look and see how many people saw it, well, we could look at the number of exposures, and then we could look at the viewers who saw it on HBO, and the number of exposures on social media, and the viewers who saw that, and the number of exposures on news, and the viewers, and we could add them all up, and we're going to get a very large number. Okay. This was kind of interesting. I got a call from a TV station about the story on this thing, and they asked me to comment on this thing with Game of Thrones being mentioned 17,000 times, along with the Starbucks cup. And I said, okay, that makes sense. A value of over $4 billion, and well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you look at Procter and Gamble, they spend about $6 or $7 billion a year on every one of their brands in the United States. 4 billion sound a little heavy, and then they said, and reaching over 53 billion people. So that would be, I guess they meant impressions because it can't quite be 53 billion people unless it was going to some other planets. There are only 7.5 billion people on this planet right now. So it's kind of interesting how the impressions number gets used. It tends to be a fairly raw number because it doesn't tell you how many times people saw it. It doesn't tell you if people saw it, if everybody saw it once, or if a handful of people saw it a million times. It tends to be a very large number when we're talking mass media. It can quickly get into the millions, so it's kind of hard to use on a day to day basis. What ends up happening in media is we'll see some other numbers like gross rating points, cost per thousand, which is cost per thousand impressions, that either break it down instead of having impressions, we look at a percentage as in gross rating points, or we look at cost per thousands of impressions, cost per thousand, CPM. We'll get to those. So that's your word for today, impressions. Marketing. Okay, this is a really, really quick review. Some of you have had a marketing class, some of you have heard this stuff in other classes. But the thing that I'm most interested in is what do marketers think about? And if we were going to break it down to its absolute minimal elements, they think about these four things: the product, okay, and that is what is being sold and how they brand it. So a product is, say, iced coffee if you're Starbucks. A product is medium-sized cars if you're Ford. Okay, so a product typically has a bit of competition in the marketplace between branded versions of the products. So marketers start typically in this four P's approach with the product, thinking about that first. Then they think about the price, and the price is certainly the cost of the product, but it can also be how complicated is the product to bring into your life, what you have to give up to use it. So, for example, e-bikes are real hot right now. So the price of them might be anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000 or $5,000, but it's also the price of, well, you're going to give up your car. So that's something you give up to get what you want. Place is the distribution. In other words, where is stuff being sold? So, for instance, distribution can be online, distribution can be through retailers, distribution can be direct to consumers. So, those are all decisions that get made by the marketers. Then finally, there's promotion. Okay, and promotion includes public relations, it includes advertising, it includes the discounts that get put out there. Anything you can think of, the customer service is all part of promotion. So those four things are what marketers think about. And now when you look at an ad or look at a press release or you look at some sort of event, you can think about what the marketers are thinking about. Now, typically when you see an ad, the ad will actually include subtly or explicitly pretty much all this stuff, okay? It may take a while to get to, but once you look at an ad and start reading them, you realize, okay, it has almost all that information, if not all that information. So let me see if we can show you an ad.
Imagine right now, a new device is being created. With intelligence so advanced, it can control other devices. And one day, it decides to rally them against humanity. And as the end draws near and all hope is lost, you realize you never went to a Sia concert, and now you never will. See your favorite artist before it's too late with StubHub.
Okay, StubHub. That's not the product, that's the brand. Okay, well, the product is, well, tickets to event tickets. In this case, if we look at the promotion, well, it's concert tickets. Product, price, well, the price isn't given in this. Okay, place is online. Okay, that's how they distribute. It's very clear from the whole ad. They're talking about an online driven world. Okay, and then finally promotion. Okay, clearly it's modern. It's taking, kind of the zombie apocalypse movie idea and playing it out. It looked like the agency, which is going to be Silverstein in San Francisco, was having a really good time with that. They're doing Sia. Okay, they could have picked any concert, right? But what they did was something a little bit more youth oriented, maybe older, younger adult oriented. Why? Because that's the population of people who go to concerts. Promotion. They're also, well, using television advertising or digital advertising. We don't know where this one was run. And then also they're taking kind of a humor approach to it. They're keeping it light. Okay, but they're also throwing within the promotion this idea that you had better take advantage of this stuff now. Essentially, the time is running out. So when you look at the ad, you can actually break most of, if not all of the four P's down of what the product is, what the price is, what the place is, the distribution, or what the promotion is. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so let's move on now. Role of advertising in marketing. I'll tell you in a minute where this picture was taken, because this is a picture of what used to be an advertising agency in New York, and they've rebuilt. Okay, when we're talking about advertising, and we're talking about public relations too, that's part of the promotion, right? We've talked about that a moment ago. Where does this money come from and go to? Well, what's happening is it's changing. 2017 was the last year where TV and digital was about the same. Okay, in 2018, digital went ahead, and then 2019, digital went way ahead. Other stuff that went on was TV didn't decline very much. It's pretty much in the same place. TV will go up and down if there's an election or an Olympics. That's going to drive up TV usage. So they're still there. It's not that it's lost ground in any major way. It's just the internet, the digital sales have gained so much ground. Newspapers were a school of journalism, and this is where we're feeling this stuff. Um, it was around 16, $17 billion in 2017. By 2019, it's under $14 billion. That's a big, big percentage drop. Public relations, well, public relations has actually grown, and the numbers are relatively small with PR, not because the impact of PR is small, but because PR doesn't charge for ad time, ad space. It's services only. So it's growing in terms of the amount of services that it's delivering to the industry. Now, this is where it gets interesting. If you look here, this is just a slide of a whole bunch of brands. Nearly all the brands on this page are losing market share. In other words, they're selling less compared to their competitors. Okay? Almost every single one of the brands, and we could extend this out, and we could be looking at car brands. These are all food brands, but they're all in trouble. Some are in more trouble than others, like Green Giant, if Campbell Soup is on here, Betty Crocker, stuff that requires cooking. All are brands that are in difficulty because how people are living their lives is different. How they order stuff is different. They're buying stuff online. How they cook is different. They're going out more, cooking much less. They're not buying houses like they used to. They're not fixing up houses because they're not buying them like they used to. So all these brands are challenged, and this is why I wanted to get back to this agency. So this is R. Greenberg. Also called RGA, is the official title, R/GA. And it was started in the 1970s by a couple of brothers who liked animation. And they started out animating movie titles using computers. And they were among the first people to be using computers for animation. To do that, it wasn't a matter of running down and downloading Adobe anything. They had to write their own code. And in fact, in some cases, they had to build their own machines. So they learned computers from the inside. They then became an advertising agency in the 1990s and did a lot of digital advertising. They focused on digital advertising. Now they've changed one more time and they've become what's called a consulting company. And what a consulting company can do might be some of the advertising, but they go back and they go to the brands and they say, here's how you are going to survive in the coming years. Here's how you're going to change your business. So R. Greenberg, their big RGA, their big client is Walmart, and Walmart was losing market share to Amazon. The stock price was down, and RGA came in and with a bunch of other vendors told Walmart how to change their way of doing business, not just their advertising, but their entire way of doing business. And that's why you can order online, pick up in store, you can order in store, pick up, have it sent to your house, these things. Okay, so the agencies that are moving forward are becoming more business consulting. So they're looking at all those elements within marketing: the product, in other words, what's being sold, the price, certainly how it's priced, how it competes. They're looking at the place. They're looking at the delivery systems, and then and only then are they looking at the promotion. How are we going to tell people about what we're doing? So that's the role of advertising and PR, and really media in marketing. Big picture, just one more time: internet growing, TV fairly stable, maybe a little down. Newspapers way down, PR growing from a much smaller base. That's it. I'll see you guys in class. Bye bye.